What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Gym Range Podcast. This is episode 11. I'm Carl Heiser, joined by my co-host Alex Cervantes. We're brought to you by Vendetta Sports Media. Make sure to check out the site, vendettasportsmedia.com, and subscribe to the YouTube channel so you never miss an episode. A great week of college basketball this week. Really good week. Lots of interesting results that we're going to get into and talk about. Some teams getting absolutely waxed that we probably didn't expect. And other teams just taking care of business. So we're going to kick it off with just the oldest games that we didn't get to talk about. So on Monday, we had Marquette beating a top 10 team in Illinois. I mean, unexpected for sure. Alex, what do you think about that?
I mean, it's Marquette made it ugly, and we got the Shaka Smartest back. Here are the Golden Eagles. And granted, this is an Illinois team that is without Kofi Cockburn. That definitely would have added a dimension. Obviously, if you're adding an All-American to a game that Marquette didn't have to deal with, but they did. The biggest stat line that I think everyone's going to take away from that game is Andre Curbelo went 4 of 18 from the field and had 7 turnovers. And frankly, he was probably touted as the best returning point guard in the country. So it's your first big test of the year. You figure you're a top 10 team in Illinois. You figure you can beat what we consider to be like a below the middle of the pack Big East team. And here it is, Andre Curbelo, not really, especially in the last minute. Trent Frazier kind of got double teamed at the top, right at half court. Didn't really flash to show any kind of help. And the Marquette kid stole it, made the layup. Marquette wins the game. So, there's a lot you can take away from it. Coleman Hawkins has been impressive to date. I don't think we all expected him to kind of emerge. But, just shout out. I'm starting to love Marquette for reasons besides this Illinois game. And we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
But that was fun. And I know you want to talk about Marcel because he went off.
I don't have much to say on Marcel other than it's very it makes a lot more sense now to me why he decided to leave.
Yeah.
I think I had a lot of questions when he left. You just won Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. You're a Maryland kid. Why would you leave? And I think now I'm understanding that it's probably because he wanted offensive touches that he wasn't getting under Turgeon. And now he's exceeded his career high in every game so far, almost. I think maybe except for one, averaging 20 points a game and shooting ridiculous splits. I never knew he could do that, and he's still a good defender. So it's I'm happy for him. It's cool to see that he's becoming a valuable player on both sides of the ball. But it's also a little sad because it's were we just not using him correctly this whole time? Yeah, in the Illinois game though, Trent Frazier was good. I think outside of that last possession where he just turned his back to everybody, and I don't really know what he was doing. He let Tyler Kolek come in and steal it for the game-winning layup. So that was not great. And Curbelo has not been what everyone expected him to be. So
yeah,
we'll see with Illinois. My Brad Underwood take, I think, is aging okay so far, though. About him maybe being on the hot seat.
The overreactions will come from the Illini fans.
Oh yeah, they're coming. All right, moving on. Tuesday. You could talk about the Duke Gardner-Webb game first. Duke beat Gardner-Webb by 40 points.
So they beat them by 40 points, right? And it's going to be a game. I touched on it because I'm doing the Blue Review, a game recap for Duke every game, just so I can have my thoughts down. You can go check it out. It's on our site. But, it was Duke's most complete performance of the year for 40 minutes. They beat a team by 40. They jumped out to an early lead and just never kind of let them battle back. They didn't need a major second half. Everyone kind of filled up the box score again. Trevor Keels, all starters had double-digit scoring, and they were all pretty efficient. No one took more than 9 shots. Like everyone was spreading the wealth. So I couldn't be happier in that regard. However, it's going to be a game mired by what happened off the court. And I don't know how much we want to go into that. Like, again, it's on the website. If you want to go see my thoughts, I aired them out. Like, it's a tough situation for Kay. He's made it quite clear that it's two different scenarios in terms of what happened with Savarino, what happened with Banchero. Banchero was cited for aiding and abetting a DWI, which is driving while impaired, not driving while under the influence. But I guess how much of a difference does that really make?
Yeah.
But yeah, like Banchero was in the back seat of the car. Like he was only cited because it was his car. Like how much, you know what I mean? And so, but again, we sadly we've talked about we have a precedent for what school sanctioned suspensions are going to look like, what they're going to look like when they're handled internally. So it's sad, but the precedent's been set. And when teams, when it is their star player, when it is the potential number one overall pick in the draft, you're probably not going to suspend them because then it could interrupt whatever play of the year contentions he may be in. But all in all, like it was another strong performance. Wendell Moore played well again, filled up the stat sheet. Trevor Keels had his best shooting night. He went 4 of 6 from deep. Like it's all good signs.
Yep. All right. Other results from that Tuesday. Virginia lost again, lost to Houston by 20. Just kind of reinforcing the fact that Virginia's probably in a lot of trouble this year, unless they can find somebody to score the ball. North Carolina and Charleston. North Carolina ended up winning. They were down by 6 at half, and it's clear to everybody at this point that they can't play defense. They just can't. It's really bad. Like they gave up
horrendous.
The first half. They gave up 42 points to College of Charleston. And College of Charleston is like a pretty solid like mid-major team that can score, but like you're North Carolina. you can't be getting like I don't know. You can't get run out of the gym by College of Charleston. Like, but they did end up winning that game.
They did.
In the late night games, we had Seton Hall in Michigan. Seton Hall comes out with the dub, wins by 2 over number 4 Michigan. And I think other results from this week that we'll talk about will indicate that Michigan might not be the best team in the Big Ten. I don't think they are right now. And the Big Ten might be a lot more wide open after, one than we think it is. But
yeah,
Hunter Dickinson had 18 on pretty efficient shooting. He wasn't really the problem. It was just, Seton Hall hit some free throws late, and that was the difference in the game.
the Wolverines also went 3 of 15 from deep. Like if you don't, we kind of figured they'd be a decent 3-point, at least where teams would have to respect it. Caleb Housing was supposed to be. People touted him, and you know what, the Montverde mixtapes showed that he could shoot the ball. He went 0 of 4 in the Seton Hall game, and we'll talk to what he went for in the game over the weekend. But it has not been a strong showing on shooting splits from Housing.
Not at all. He is not hitting his shots. Eli Brooks had 17.
Yep.
On 7 for 15. So he had a decent game too. Seton Hall, I'm trying to see. Oh, Bryce Aiken, I think he had a pretty good game. From what I remember, he was pretty clutch late. But yeah, so Michigan drops. BYU and Oregon. This was to me the most surprising result of maybe the entire week. I expected Oregon to maybe win by a decent margin because I was pretty high on them entering the year. They were in Portland facing an unranked BYU team, and BYU slaughtered them. Alex Barcelo scored 25, and they won by 32 points. BYU beat Oregon. I was shocked. I was honestly so surprised. And I'm not worried. I'm not worried about Oregon. And the reason for that is because I think Dana Altman's really good at getting them to peak at the right time. He's really good at getting them to peak right around tournament time. And so I'm fine with them dropping a couple games early because I think they're going to keep trending upwards.
Okay.
I think a lot of the preseason evaluations are based on like what they're going to be eventually. So clearly they have some stuff they need to figure out, but this is kind of a thing that Dana Altman does where like they get into the tournament as a 6 seed and make the Elite Eight. And so I'm surprised in one sense, but in another sense, maybe not super surprised either. Yeah,
Yeah.
they only had one of their starters, only one player, period, scored double digits, so not great.
No. I mean, BYU again was one of those like fringe top 25 teams entering the season. It's not like again, to me, it's not like it's Seton Hall where they were like a middle of the pack. Like BYU is gonna make Gonzaga compete in the West Coast Conference when they play.
Mhm.
I don't know if BYU can just get up and down the floor with Gonzaga. We'll see. I don't know if they also have the front court depth. We are really projecting into the future in that regard. But this is a good BYU team that will now be ranked in the top 25. We'll see where they fall.
Mhm.
But I mean, that was the marquee win they needed. They're not gonna they don't really play anyone of note in terms of, but I mean, when you stack like their non-conference schedule, that was the win. And they
Mhm.
got it. And they convincingly got it.
Yeah,
So
yeah. That's a win that even if they find themselves on the bubble, like they're getting in on the strength of that win, and depending on how they play, like Gonzaga, um, I think yeah. But BYU did have a very legitimate argument to be ranked entering the
yep.
season. They're a receiving votes type of team. That I think if you put them in at like 22, I don't think anybody would complain about that. But now I mean, they're definitely going to be ranked.
You know, the
Um,
amount of the amount of losses this week, they might be higher.
you think so?
It might be.
Like top 20?
They could push it.
Yeah,
They could.
yeah. We'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see when the poll comes out. All right, let's go to Wednesday's stuff. Um, everyone took care of business except for Maryland. uh, lost to George Mason in like the most predictable upset ever. I'm it's just so frustrating. Like I'll talk about it more when we talk about the Hofstra game, but this team cannot shoot. The Terps can't shoot. They just can't. Um, shooting like 25% from three for the season as a team. It's just not going to work. We can't do that. Dante Scott, he was great. Hit 3 3-pointers, was pretty efficient, 10 rebounds, 18 points. No complaints there. Eric Ayala did his thing, 17 points. He's good for 15 a night. And he doesn't do it though in a super like flashy way. Like I always find myself at the end of the game wondering like where did he get 17 points? Because he scores 17 points and seemingly doesn't it doesn't look to the eye test like he's impacting the game as much as I would want him to. But I guess I'll take the points. Fats Russell, just a disaster in this game. 1 for 7 from the field. Had 6 assists, but can't shoot. Julian Reese was good. He's been good. Freshman coming off the bench. I've been pleased with what he's brought to the team, but Maryland is starting to prove people right that they probably shouldn't have been ranked to start the year, and is what it is. But that's Wednesday. Other than that, UConn's looked awesome. They haven't really played a ton of great teams, but or really any great teams, but they've looked really good.
They've
They've
got
won.
Auburn on Wednesday. There's their test. The
That should be
battle
a
for
really good
Atlantis.
game. Yeah, the battle for Atlantis game. But they've won every game, I think, by what, 25 at least.
At least. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they beat Binghamton by 24. But yeah, that's their closest game so far. So we'll see what they look like against a more legitimate opponent.
Yep.
Yeah, UCLA took care of business, blew out North Florida.
Texas bounced back.
They did.
Arkansas.
Yeah, they did. It was kind of a, I don't know, it's kind of a slower game against North
Yep.
Colorado, but got the dub. Arkansas won. So yeah, everybody taking care of business except the Terps. Thursday, Charleston Classic game, St. Bonaventure, Boise State. This game was close for a while. And also, Boise State, were they up big like at one point? Or was it Bonaventure was up big and then Boise State like came back?
It wasn't really. Yeah, Bonaventure was up. Yeah, I remember because I texted you. Bonaventure was up 14-4. And I was like, look at the Bonnies. And then you sent me
Yeah.
a message like 10 minutes later and you're like, it's tied. It's like, okay. Because I
Yeah,
was in class,
they were
so I
down at
couldn't really
half.
watch it.
They were down at half.
But the Bonnies, like it's interesting, right? Like Kyle Lofton's definitely playing like how we expected him to play,
Yeah.
but they keep for all the hype that even I had, it took them a while until the championship game to like truly like handle a game like we expected them to
Yeah.
against, if we want to say it's like inferior power 6 opponents. And so this was a tournament that they should have come out 3-0. They did come out 3-0, but like they had to hold on against Boise State.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we touch on it in the like Friday games, but they had to come back. They had a 16-0 run in the second half to beat Clemson, which A is massive concern for Brownell's squad, but B, like Clemson's tough, but like PJ, like, oh my gosh, PJ Hall was spreading, like PJ Hall was presenting a lot of problems for them.
Mm-hmm.
And the Tigers weren't all that impressive from deep. And so, like, I just found it interesting that the scoreline was what it was. But
Yeah.
listen, they handle business. That's all you can ask for. So they haven't looked impressive, but they've handled business, and they're 5-0. So,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
yep.
Another game that was pretty big was the Gavitt tip-off game. Xavier over Ohio State, number 19 Ohio State at the time. Little in-state rivalry action going on,
Yep.
but again, like we've said this, like Ohio State, EJ Liddell is 17-7. That's great. Their starting guards had 7 points and 6 points respectively. That's just not gonna get it done. And
Nope.
it can't be EJ Liddell go out and give us 25 and 10 rebounds, and then hopefully
Hope for the
like we'll
best.
squeak by. Like that'll be good enough. It's not gonna work. Like the loss of Dwayne Washington is a big deal. As much as people have tried to say that it wasn't a big deal. But Paul Scruggs, pretty nasty dunk to pretty much ice the game, I think.
Yep.
But yeah, he finished with 14 on 5 for 13 from the field. But yeah, Xavier gets the win against Ohio State, who haven't been all that convincing to start the year. We have seen a little bit of Patrick Baldwin against Florida. Florida dominated Milwaukee.
Yeah, it's just tough, right?
So
Like Baldwin is the go-to guy on a team that was not pegged to win the Horizon League. So, like I've read, of course, there have been profiles on him in the offseason, and this was a team where like guys in the locker room were like, listen, I know a couple guys that were going to transfer, but he came, he stayed. Like he got them to stay. So it's a team trying to find their footing. Florida is not an easy opponent to do that with. They're really good defensively. Baldwin did go like 6 of 15 from the field. It's just going to be tough because he's a 6'10 forward, so he's going to dominate in the Horizon League. But it's games like that where you kind of want to see him get push 20. But when you are the sole focus of a good defensive team, it's going to be tough.
yeah.
Yep.
Then yeah, other games. That's kind of it. Kansas
That's really
beat
it.
Stony Brook, but yeah, that's
That
all
was
for
closer
Thursday.
that was closer and longer than it needed to be.
Yeah,
But again, Ochai Baji,
he's a beast.
the preseason takes from like they're looking good.
I
I'm
mean, the
enjoying
guy's just filthy. Like he's nasty.
them. They're
Friday,
looking good.
Clemson up 16 points with 2 minutes left in the first half against St. Bonaventure in the Charleston Classic game, and they lost. They lost. Not great. But St. Bonaventure from 3 in the second half, lit it up. I think they hit, 10 threes maybe, just in the second half. They had 14
like
for
a
the
million.
game. I mean, yeah, unreal. Jaron Holmes, 5 for 8 from 3. Lofton, 4 for 5. Welch, 3 for 6. Like, when they need to run it and shoot, I'm coming around to the fact that, like, okay, they're starting to figure things out, because a couple of their earlier results, I was like, they're playing these teams way too close for how good they're supposed to be.
They are.
And even though this was a close game where they were down big, they responded in a way that leads me to believe that they will be as good as we think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also just bad luck for Clemson. Really bad.
Oh, absolutely.
What else? Auburn beat South Florida. Oh, Duke. Duke beat
Yeah, Duke.
Lafayette, 33 points.
We finally, like, it kind of felt, I mean, there's so much I can touch on, but Wendell Moore filled up the stat sheet. So that hot take I had, which wasn't really a hot take, but that his emergence was A, the most important thing for this Duke squad, but B, it was more important than anything. Like, and this is not slanderous to like Jeremy Roach in any way, but like it would be more important to Jeremy Roach, because Jeremy Roach, I've said it, always projected as an off-ball guard, which he's been playing as. Duke, they kind of struggled. Lafayette went to the 2-3 zone, which all smaller teams are going to do. And again, it presents concerns because Duke isn't great from distance. So you're not really going to be able to break the zone down. It felt like they were just kind of throwing up shots from deep, and they were settling rather than getting, like, you have Paolo in the mid, like at the free throw line.
Yeah.
Just dump it in there and let them get the ball. We had Wendell Moore, they got the ball to Wendell Moore in there, and he was able to go to work. Like, if Wendell Moore at 6'6" can go to work down there, I feel like a 6'10" Bankero can too. But Bankero was relatively quiet. He had 10 points, or 11 points. Mark Williams, 14 points, 15 rebounds, 4 blocks. He did what we finally expected him to, finally emerging. Like, I feel like him and Bankero are finally figuring out how to work together. And AJ Griffin, which might have been the best storyline of the night, he was 7 of 10 from the field, 4 of 6 from deep, which was the best split on that team. 18 points. His knee looked good. He was very smooth with the ball. He knocked down 2 consecutive threes within a span of like 30 seconds. Like, it's that kind of thing that it's scary that Duke is a 5-star coming off the bench. But yeah, it like that, that 5-star is a projected top 5 pick as of right now, if he holds healthy. So, or he's a projected top 10, upside 5, top 5. So these Dukes, they handled business. They extended the lead in the second half. You've got concerns, obviously, but you know they're starting to get their footing. They've got Gonzaga on Friday. We'll really know then. But
yeah. All right, I'm going to talk about the Maryland game now. Maryland Hofstra. Okay. I went to this game.
She did.
And it's just so frustrating. So Maryland pulled out a close win. They were down actually with 30 seconds left. Ended up getting a steal off an inbounds where it was like Ian Martinez jumped, grabbed the ball, and got fouled on the way down. So then he hits 2 free throws. Or it was a tie game, actually. Yeah, he hits 2 free throws, go up by 2 with 3 seconds left, and then Fats Russell steals off the ensuing inbounds play because we had fouls to give to close out the win. But so I'm happy with the win. There are a couple things I'm happy with. I'm happy with the win. I'm happy with Ian Martinez because he was awesome in this game. Off the bench, scored 13 points, played good defense, was like clutch down the stretch. Needed him. Julian Reese, I was very impressed with him, both defensively. Having him be on the inbounder was huge for us because they just couldn't get it around him. The defense in the second half on set plays, I was very happy with. Turgeon, historically not great in late game situations, but for whatever reason, our response to their set plays was very, very good in this game. So that's things I'm happy with. Things I'm not happy with. The fact that we're excited about a 2-point win against Hofstra in November. What are we doing? I feel like Taylor Twellman. What are we doing? What are we doing? We shot 5 for 22 from 3-point range. Eric Ayala, 5 for 17 from the field, 2 for 9 from 3. Fats Russell, 3 for 8 from the field. Didn't even attempt a 3, which honestly I'm thankful for. It's just so discouraging. Like how little this, like we should be, the spread was double digits. It should not be this close. We should not be like barely, getting wins against these like teams that aren't very good in the big scheme of things. Like Turgeon after the game saying, "Oh, this is a great win for us." No, it's not. No, it's not a great win for you. You were losing to Hofstra with 30 seconds left when you should have been beating them by double digits. It's not a great win. You think when you guys are on the bubble come tournament time that the committee's going to be like, "Oh, but remember when the Terps beat Hofstra by 2 in November? We should definitely let them in." That's not going to happen. This is not a good win. This is a disaster. Learn how to shoot, guys. Figure it out. Like it's so frustrating. I'm just not excited for how the rest of the season is going to go. Hofstra's 1-3. Like they're not great. Like after the George Mason game, Turgeon, George Mason was terrific. Yeah, but also you guys were bad.
Carl is tired.
I'm so sick of it. Once the buzzer sounded, I high-fived this dad behind me, and like he was like, "Yeah, fire Turgeon!" Like the amount of people I heard walking out of Xfinity Center talking about like this guy's got to go was it's
Which
just
in fairness,
bad.
you've
Like,
said
really
you're
bad.
not a Turgeon guy.
I'm
You're not a
not.
Turgeon
I
guy.
can't be after stuff like this. Like it's just it's frustrating, and I don't want to talk about it anymore. It just is what it is. Like we
All
walked out of
right.
there with a win, but not an encouraging one. So I'm gonna be done ranting about that. But moving on
There,
to Saturday,
there were some Friday games.
there were
Just
some
highlight
more.
quickly. I just wanted to say Memphis held on
Oh
to beat
yeah,
Western Kentucky. They had like 18 turnovers, which cannot happen when they play bigger opponents. But Jalen Duran was magical. He had 22 on 8 of 12 from the field and 19 rebounds. So when you've got a guy like that, things
yeah.
will generally work out in your
It's
favor.
just like
So
comical, like how good he is.
yes,
Um,
so Memphis, it's going to be an underrated game. They've got Virginia Tech on Wednesday. I I will be watching that.
I'm
That will
very
be fun.
excited for that game.
That will be fun. So again, we talk a lot about like these teams, like that's their first test. Like we're really gonna see.
Yeah.
It's true though. Like you're playing low major Division I opponents. So
Uh-huh.
Alabama killed Oakland. It finally looks like their team is playing together. They're figuring out each other offensively.
Mm-hmm.
And
That was a little bit of a bounce back after
yeah,
a close one against South Alabama.
absolutely. And then Kentucky shook like they did shake off kind of an early like funk. And
Mm-hmm.
they Keon Brooks had 22, which they're gonna need. Again, Ty Washington for a little bit was threatening with triple double range, but he had 20, 12, and 5. So he wasn't great from deep. He is a prolific shooter, but he went 1 of 6 from deep. So I don't know how long you can keep saying he's a prolific shooter. Oscar Tshiebwe, 10 rebounds. Again, double-digit rebounds. Did
0
not
points,
score.
10 rebounds.
Did
Not
not
bad for
score.
that one.
But that's okay. Who
Yeah.
cares? Ohio looks like a team that is pretty good. So
Yeah.
it's not a bad win. Gonzaga handles business, and Michigan beat UNLV by 13, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
On to Saturday.
Yeah, on to Saturday. Villanova, Tennessee in the Cheez-It Hall of Fame tip-off.
No.
We love the
It's
Cheez-It
such a
Hall of
bad
Fame
name.
tip-off. It's awesome. It's so fun.
No. Why?
What
Like
do
I
you
was
like about
watching
it?
I was watching the game with someone, and the fact that people are running up the court with the Cheez-It rectangle logo just at half court, really, it's not. I don't love it. I don't love it.
Yeah. Well, oh well. Villanova beat Tennessee by 18. Tennessee, I don't think is maybe as good as people expected them to be. Kennedy Chandler disappointed in this game.
Yeah.
Only had 6 points. Got locked up by Little Archidiacono, which can't happen if you're a lottery pick. Yeah, but Villanova pretty balanced in this game. Samuels 14, Moore 13, Gillespie 14.
And that's Villanova.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They're gonna be balanced.
Well, they're going to be balanced, but the problem with them is that they're not deep.
No, and we'll talk about that. We're gonna talk about the Purdue game, but
Yeah.
they're balanced. They know what they're doing. They know how to play
Mhm.
basketball. This is an old team, but again, they're not deep. So
Yeah. Yeah. So that's probably all that needs to be said there. Purdue, North Carolina. This was a good game.
it's a phenomenal game.
But again, North Carolina can't play defense.
No,
Can't. 93 points to Purdue. Jaden Ivey is a stud. Jaden
some
Ivey.
of the stuff he does is just like I tweeted it. Like he had a 60-second sequence midway through the second half.
Mhm.
Good Lord. Like how as a 6'6" guard, why are you getting up the court in 3 dribbles?
Yeah,
Leaping out of
I
bounds,
know.
cross court, not even looking, finding Stefanovic for a 3. Then you come right back down, another 3 dribbles, then you find another corner 3. And then one more time, you get an outlet, 2 dribbles, Euro, finish offhand, get fouled. There's 9 points in 60
Yeah.
seconds. And it was runs like that kind of killed North Carolina, right?
Yeah.
Like they kept it close in the first half. Then Ivy again led like a 9-0 run to start the second half.
Mhm.
Then North Carolina battles back. They exchange shots. 10-0 run from Purdue.
Yeah.
Battle back. 10-0 run. And then like at some point, your bigs get in foul trouble because this is not a deep front court. And you're screwed.
Yeah. I mean, Jaden Ivey playing Carolina was like an unstoppable force meets a very, very movable object. Where
Yes.
like North Carolina's interior defense hasn't been good to start the year, and Jaden Ivey is fast as heck, and just like it's crazy watching him on like. It just makes me think of like De'Aaron Fox and like John Wall in college, like how fast they were. Like Jaden Ivey, I think, is on that level of like this just pure speed. And when Carolina lets anybody get into the interior at any time, he's able to penetrate, kick it out, find open shooters. Like there was no way they were going to be able to stop him. No way. And Stefanovic is one of the best shooters probably in the country, especially when he's wide open. Dawson Garcia for Carolina, 26 points, and 8 rebounds. So good game. It was
massive.
Good game for him.
They needed that.
I think this was definitely more about Purdue.
Yeah. And here's the thing, right? Like they have Zach Edey and they have Travion Williams. So you've got a team with 3 potential All-Americans and one of them is coming off the bench.
Yeah, Travion Williams had 20 points off the bench. And they've been running Williams and Edey together for a lot of that, and they've figured it out. Like I think there were questions about the fit probably to start the year, but it's awesome to watch. Like it's one of the most dominant front courts in the country.
It really is. You can't do much.
Yeah.
And Travion Williams, more impressively, had 20 points in 13 minutes.
Oh yeah. No, you're right. That is I mean, Purdue is like, this is the best team Matt Painter has ever had.
Yes.
We said this, but it bears repeating. Baycott only 2 points in this game.
He was in foul trouble. He got in early. It was tough.
Right.
He's in my mind their only true center.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be rough when they play like a physically imposing one because he can't. Whereas you had Kessler, you had Sharp, you had Brooks. You had 4 centers last year. He's the only one. Mm-hmm. So it's tough.
Yeah. A matchup I would be really interested to see, even though it's not on the schedule. No, it's not. I had to double check. Would be like North Carolina versus Memphis. I think would be fun. Because Duran would feast, obviously. But
there would be no defense. They're just going.
Yeah,
they're going.
They're just running. Like it's just athletes. Like
RJ Davis would have probably 18 points, but I'm for sure. I know that he would be considering he would be giving up straight drives to the rim.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh,
Other results from that day, which was
it was a quiet day.
yeah, it was a pretty quiet day.
Baylor hammered Stanford.
Yeah, they did. They did by almost 40. So they've looked good. I was relatively low on them, but they've looked good. I'll say it.
Well, they've
Yeah,
handled business.
LJ Cryer, 21 points. So if he's the guy who steps up for the backcourt, then so be it. Yeah,
Yep.
and then Texas took care of business. All right, moving on Sunday. Purdue with another win against Villanova. Villanova now with 2 losses
Yeah.
already. And Purdue is awesome. I mean, like, I do think Purdue, I'm wondering how high Purdue will get with, like, Michigan lost, Villanova's lost twice, Kansas, like, could they jump?
In terms of marquee wins, they could jump.
I think they could jump Kansas. I think they could be 2.
UCLA's 2.
Oh, you're right. Okay, they'd be 3.
I think they jumped to 3. I think Kansas drops to 4.
Okay.
In which case, the Rock Chalk fan base are going to be displeased, to say the least.
Yeah.
But
here's where we can talk about Villanova's depth issues, because that's what really killed them in this game.
It did, because they had it. They were winning semi-convincingly by like 9. Quick shout out to ABC Chicago for not letting me watch this game and showing a Safari special instead.
Yeah.
So going totally off of what Twitter said and some quick highlights I saw. Villanova played 7 guys. 6 of them went above 20 minutes. Archie Diacono got 5. Your starters 4 out of your 5 starters all eclipsed 36 minutes of action. Like, it's just something like you just run out of legs at some point, especially in a back-to-back slate.
Absolutely.
And so
you can't win like that.
No, and against a team like Purdue, where they have so much depth and they're just going to rotate guys in and out, especially, again, we can't talk about that Edey Williams front court like duo enough. Like, they're going to hammer you with one, sub him out, and then just pummel you again with the other one. Like, it's not really that fair, but it's the reality of what Purdue is. You kind of hope they beat themselves. This is a kind of game where you kind of expose, like, if you could slow it down a bit, maybe you're good.
Mm-hmm.
And you just have to guard Jaden Ivey, because if he gets out in transition, good night.
Yeah.
So, I mean, those were my biggest takeaways. And Villanova had decent shooting splits too. So,
yeah. So that's the thing. It's like, it's not even like how well they're playing, the guys that they're running out there. It's that they don't have anyone else. They run out of steam at some point. Yeah. And I think in the Big East, now it's looking less likely that they'll be able to get away with that, because a lot of the Big East teams have looked very, very impressive to start the year, picked up some really big wins. And so now it's like, okay, so is Villanova like vulnerable now in the conference based on what we've seen so far? And I think there's an extent to which that's true. I think some teams could cause some problems for them. Once they get into the Big East.
They've got Baylor and Xavier next month within a span of 9 days. So,
yeah. So, I think they can win one of those, and they'll lose the other one.
Interesting.
I think they'll go 1-1 in those 2 games, but
and they'll still be ranked like top 20, which is not. Probably. Which I want to like. They're still a top 10 team in the country, but at some point, you have 2 losses.
But also, like, we've talked about it before, the polls are kind of garbage anyway. They don't really mean anything.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's just kind of who lost less recently than everyone else, but
Hey, people who lost.
yeah. All right, Tennessee, North Carolina. Tennessee, big bounce back game.
Oh my gosh.
Carolina sucked again.
I mean, I I was watching this with a North Carolina fan. I mean, great for me, great for my spirits. But it was just
Yeah.
it was just sad at points. Like Zakai Ziegler, who doesn't even start for this Tennessee team, is their backup point guard to Kennedy. Went 7 of 10 from the field, 3 out of 5 from three. Like I legit had the person I was sitting with. They were like, "Is he a starter?" I was like, "No." Like because he was literally catching the ball at the wing, making like a jab step, and then ripping through and taking like 2 dribbles and just finishing at the rim because there was no backside help for RJ Davis. RJ Davis just wasn't moving his feet.
Yeah.
And so like you had what is that? 4 guys for Tennessee get over 13 points, a bunch of like solid contributors too.
Mm-hmm.
Kennedy Chandler did 14 points, dished out 8. Again, like all I can take away from North Carolina games is that they can't play defense.
Yeah.
And it kills me because there are going to be 2 games on February 5th and March 5th that I know they're going to show up defensively. And it's going to frustrate me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
it's coming.
They'll be there. And Caleb Love is going to play out of his mind because why not? Baycott will have like his first like 4-block game of the season. Like it won't make sense, but it'll happen.
Yeah. I have a Carolina question for you. But first something I've been thinking about is how Carolina, the way that they've played to me has looked more like I expected Notre Dame to look than how I expected Carolina to look.
Interesting.
Yeah, just do away with defense and try to score as much as you can. But yeah, so that's kind of been my observation though on them to start the year. My question is this for you, because I didn't watch this game. But so Dawson Garcia, the game before this, 26 and 10, got 13 shots. This game, 4 points, 3 rebounds, 7 shots. Is that something that, and he only played 18 minutes after playing 33 the game before. So like, is that like Hubert Davis just trying to rest him sort of, or is it Hubert Davis, like, was it a bad game plan? Because like you should be going to Dawson Garcia in a game after he scored 26 points on like 10 of 13 from the field.
It's a myriad of things. It's Brady Manick led the team in scoring. He had 24 on 6 of 10 from deep.
Mm-hmm.
He's more of a consistent pick and pop threat than Garcia is going to be, even though Garcia is like 3 inches on him and much more length.
Yeah.
And Baycott had 16 and 12. So they haven't figured out how to get both guys going at the same time. And I really don't know if they will.
Mm-hmm.
There will be games that they will. I don't know if it'll be a consistent thing because they haven't worked out. Like both guys are kind of popping so they can give room to Davis and Love to get to the rim and finish.
Mm-hmm.
Because neither are like spectacular shooters. But I mean, Baycott, we've seen like Baycott's form is like throw up the elbow and then just kind of flick it.
Yeah.
But like Garcia, he's a lefty, like he can pop. We saw him knock down shots against Purdue, but it's early and they haven't figured out how they're gonna like play Manick, Garcia, and Baycott. And they've played Manick and Garcia at the same time. It's interesting, like, you know, Hubert Davis said they have a lot to figure out, and that's kind of an understatement. And I think it kind of starts with their effort. Like it was pretty poor, obviously defensively. If you give up 89 points to a Tennessee team, they scored 53 the previous day.
Yeah.
So, and there are 3 guys off the bench besides Manick totaled 0 points.
Yeah.
So again, like you're bringing Kerwin Walton off the bench to be a shooter. He went 0-4 from deep. So
yeah. And that's actually we'll hit fraud watch at the end, but I'm putting Carolina on fraud watch.
Okay.
Yeah. Other 2 big results from yesterday, which was Sunday. We're recording this on Monday. St. Bonaventure handles Marquette, wins by 16, the Golden Eagles their first loss of the year. Yeah, so we're seeing St. Bonaventure trending upwards. Like I went off on them last week about how they almost lost to, Canisius or whoever, and now they're actually looking like legitimately good. And obviously being down by 16 to Clemson this week, not great, but coming back is really great from that deficit. And then beating this Marquette team that has been really feisty to start the year and just completely dispatching them was really encouraging to see. And so while St. Bonaventure hasn't looked, I don't think they've looked incredible to start the year, but they've won. It's not like they've lost any of these games. They're still winning the games.
Yep.
And this was the only game Morcell didn't score 20 points. He went 0 for 8 from the field and scored 3 points.
Yeah. So again, they handle business. They did what we thought they would do against teams like this. So I don't have much more to add. They are trending upwards.
Mm-hmm. And then the final game from last night, undefeated Arizona, remains undefeated by handing Michigan their second loss. Beats them by 18. Runs them out of the gym. Coloco for Arizona, down low, 22 points. Eli Brooks led Michigan with 14, but it was not a good day for the Wolverines. And
no.
Tommy Lloyd's Arizona was another team that I think you could have maybe ranked. Maybe I think they were probably in the receiving votes.
They were fringe
category. Yeah, they were fringe top 25 team.
They're definitely now.
I think we liked that. We put them like third or fourth in the.
You and I were both battling back and forth between USC and Arizona as the second tier of the Pac-12 behind Oregon and UCLA.
We were split though on whether we had them 3 and 4, right? Okay.
I had USC 3.
Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty confident in Tommy Lloyd, and I'm more confident now after this one. I'm curious to see whether they'll be ranked after this. This was like their only sort of big win. Also in the Roman main event, they beat Wichita State in overtime, but I don't know that really moves the needle for anybody. But beating a top 5 team by 18, that moves the needle. So
a lot.
I'm very curious to see what this AP poll looks like, just because of all the upsets and fringe teams that are winning games pretty convincingly. And so there's teams that are going to have to be knocked out. Like I think North Carolina probably drops out after
they're out
2 games.
Michigan
Maryland will be out.
I don't want to jump the gun.
Yeah.
Michigan has 2 bad losses. Arizona is a bad loss. Like I'm gonna get that out. That's a bad loss
based on the preseason.
Based on the total, yeah.
Yeah.
We got blown out. Like that's to me, it's a bad loss. And
yeah, no matter who you play, getting blown out is a bad loss.
Houston was airballing threes. Like they got blown out. Maryland's gonna drop out.
Mm-hmm.
So we can go through it, right? Like Illinois is gonna drop. I don't know. I doubt they drop out.
Yeah.
UNC of the teams, UNC drops out. I think Ohio State drops out. Maryland drops out.
Mm-hmm.
Did USC lose? No, USC's won. So USC climbs a little bit. And then in terms of the others receiving votes, we had Virginia Tech, Indiana, Texas Tech, and BYU. So BYU definitely climbs in.
Yeah.
So that's one of the 4 teams added. You got to think Arizona could climb in now, right?
Yeah, you would
22
think so.
to 25.
Yeah.
Give Virginia Tech some respect. Make it a top 25 matchup when they play Memphis. I'd like to see it.
Yeah.
And then, you might throw in Xavier for beating Ohio State. So
maybe you throw in Colorado State.
I don't mind that.
They beat Creighton by 14, and they were kind of a fringe top 25
team. I don't mind that.
So
I also wonder, for Arizona, they killed Michigan, but does that Michigan now has 2 losses? Does that Michigan win not look good as we perceived it to be?
Oh, I think this early, I think it still does,
Yeah.
I
No, I
because
think it does.
early.
It's a question that like
Yeah.
you got to talk about a little bit.
No, you're right. Yeah. So that could be,
So
yeah. So depending on how they look, that might not be a win that necessarily ages super well. But I think
it
we've
should though.
it should. It should. Like
Michigan will figure it out.
Houston will start hitting shots and they'll look a lot better.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to talk about games to watch for this week before we get into Fraud Watch and close it out?
Yeah, absolutely. So Thanksgiving college basketball is literally one of the best times of the year. You have the Maui Invitational. You've got a bunch of other games. Stuff yourself with food and then watch college basketball. Like I can't say that enough.
Yeah.
Like Thursday football is great, but there's something I don't know. It's just my love for it. But
Yep.
Ohio State plays Seton Hall in a matchup of what will likely be maybe Seton Hall's ranked. They could climb in because of that win against Michigan. But anyway, Ohio State Seton Hall's a good one if you want to pick one. Illinois Cincinnati. These are all on Monday, so I don't know why I'm saying this. No one's gonna see this.
Yeah.
Let me. Tuesday, if this is out, Gonzaga plays UCLA and was in what is arguably the best game of the week.
Mm-hmm.
That's Tuesday. Definitely watch that. Wednesday, we've got Memphis, Virginia Tech, which I will enjoy more than I will UConn Auburn, but UConn Auburn is still going to be a good game.
Yeah.
Thursday.
Wait, Wednesday, I have one. Loyola,
Okay.
Chicago, Michigan State.
Yes.
That's a must watch.
Yes.
That's a must watch game.
Please tell me it's on ESPN or something.
It's the Battle for Atlantis game on ESPN at noon. Let's go. Let's go.
I will be watching that.
Yeah.
I will be slacking you too much.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
So we have Thursday. Nothing. Alabama Iota. That's I don't know if anyone's going to break away from Thursday NFL football.
Yeah.
But
that's a rematch of a tournament game.
It's a good one to watch.
Yeah.
And then of course your boys play Richmond.
I would throw out Louisville, Mississippi State.
Yeah.
As a good one. That's at 9:30.
Georgetown, San Diego State. If you're feeling really like I'm not in bed because of the turkey and stuffing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Friday, please, if you know me, don't contact me. I will not be in a good mental state. Duke plays Gonzaga 9 at 10:30. Good Lord, why is it 10:30?
I have a question for that game. What is the number for like the deficit at which you stop watching the game?
It will not happen.
Okay. Good. That's what I expected.
The deficit at which I will start crying?
Yeah.
14 points?
Okay.
Let's the over under there is 14, I guess.
All right, cool. Yeah, so tune in next week to see if Alex cried at the Gonzaga Duke game.
If the people really want it, we could do Alex updates for everyone on Friday night.
Yep. Okay.
Could be rough.
Cool.
Could be rough.
Yeah.
But that really is the only game that stands out to me on Friday.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing great.
Penn State, LSU.
Yeah, I was looking at that. It's meh.
Yeah.
But yeah, really.
Oklahoma State, Oral Roberts.
Yeah.
That one's not on TV though.
Dang.
So
I mean those are the big games, and then that's really it till we hit about ACC Big Ten Challenge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, quick shout out to my boys, Northwestern, 4-0. This is the first time I've ever seen a Northwestern athletics program besides field hockey or women's lacrosse. Shout out field hockey.
Shout out field hockey.
Shout out field hockey. Shout out field hockey.
Maryland was in the Final Four. So
they were.
That would have been a fun because they could have played each other.
They could have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
We could have had a rehash of men's soccer in the Big Ten.
I know.
Anyway, Northwestern 4-0. Finally, this is the first time like a men's team at this university is handling business. So they have Providence, which will be Monday night, which you won't see. This won't be out, but Legends Classic. Hopefully they pull it out.
Cool.
Anyway, yeah, that's my little Northwestern.
Fraud watch, real quick. Carolina, definitely on Fraud watch.
I mean, yeah, that's fine. I'm gonna stick. I mean, I'm happy I said Ohio State was on fraud watch
Yeah,
from like
because
before
they
tip.
definitely are now.
It's looking phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's looking phenomenal.
I think you can make an
Um,
argument for Villanova, given the fact that
the depth,
the
yeah,
depth. I think the
the
depth is
depth.
why you can put them
Their
on fraud
depth
watch.
is on fraud watch. I don't think
Yeah.
the team is on fraud watch. Their depth
Okay.
is on fraud watch.
All
I don't
right.
know if you can even do that. If
Yeah.
that even makes sense.
Well,
But
the depth is why I'm putting them on fraud watch. So,
yeah, that's fair.
Maryland fraud watch.
I wouldn't be upset if someone threw Michigan on fraud watch. Like I wouldn't be upset.
All right.
I'm not throwing them there. I'm saying if someone
If
else, not named
yeah, if
me,
hypothetically someone else wanted to put Michigan on fraud watch, they could.
absolutely.
I think that's it
So
for me for fraud watch.
yeah, it's got to be.
I think Carolina, Villanova ish, Michigan, Ohio State. I don't know. Fraud watch is fun because it's so reactionary. Like,
It's way too
it'll change week
reactionary.
to week. Like I'm taking St. Bonaventure off of fraud watch after this past week.
Who knows? UNC could beat Michigan in a week and a half, and we're taking UNC off of fraud watch.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's great. It's like week to week, just like gut feeling.
Total reactionary
Yeah,
until March.
that's fraud watch. Yeah, so I love it. But all right, thank you everybody for listening, for watching. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. If you're on Spotify, follow us so you never miss an episode. Follow us on Twitter at Gym Range Pod. We post polls, articles, highlights, random thoughts.
Random thoughts.
Maybe Alex crying. I don't know. Yeah, so go follow us on Twitter. Yeah, that's going to do it for us. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you guys, see some great college basketball this week. We're looking forward to it. We will see you.
Happy
next time.
Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Yep, we'll see you guys next time.